Hi guys, Heather Peterman here. I wanted to make this video to talk to you guys about something that I've been starting to think about myself and starting to process. So in the last videos that I've released over the last week or so, we've been talking a lot about adrenal fatigue and the toll that that takes on our physical bodies and on our mental health. And we've been leading up to talking about resiliency and how we recover from the extreme amount of stress that we've all been asked to go through over the last 4 or 5 months. And today I walked outside and the weather's a little crisp. There's a little breeze in the air. You can see the wind blowing in the background here. We're definitely not out of the summer heat yet. We're just entering into August here in Wisconsin, so there's a lot of hot, humid days. But the crispness in the air this morning started me thinking about the fall. And as you guys know, I'm not a Western doctor. I'm a doctor of acupuncture and Oriental medicine. And being that I practice traditional Chinese medicine, we look at things energetically and we look at how energetic shifts affect the body. And so I wanted to talk to you a little bit about what happens when we transition from summer to fall and how that could potentially impact our physical health. And I wanted to talk to you about the emotional aspects that go along with that seasonal shift. And really that focuses on letting go. And letting go is going to be such an important piece when we talk about resiliency and when we talk about recovering from adrenal fatigue. So when we move into the fall, the energies that are the most active, meaning the meridians that are the most prevalent or prominent during that time, are the lung and the large intestine. And as we know, COVID really attacks the lung, absolutely, and it absolutely manifests with large intestine symptoms when we see the diarrhea component and the stool changes that happen with people who have gone through COVID. So when we look at the fact that we're still in the midst of fighting off this pandemic, we still have this pandemic present and this virus is still active in our communities. And then we're going into the time of the year when the organs that it attacks have an energy that's most active. It makes people more vulnerable. So it's really going to be important going into late August and into September to make sure that in the time that we have left right now that we really strengthen our immune system and we strengthen our lungs and we strengthen our large intestine to keep ourselves less susceptible from attack. And one way that these organs or these meridian systems get attacked from a traditional Chinese medicine standpoint is when we're dealing with unresolved emotion or unresolved trauma. So an excess of emotion or a deficiency of emotion in any of the organ systems really can attack our physical body. So in traditional Chinese medical theory, every meridian pair is linked to a specific emotion. And the lung and large intestine happen to be associated with grief. So when we look at what we've been going through as a culture and as a society over the last 5 months, I see a lot of grief. I see a lot of anticipatory grief after not knowing what our future is going to look like, not knowing what our new social norms are going to be. I see a lot of grief over things that we've had to let go of and things that we can no longer participate in. And then there's the grief that's focused around people that we have lost, because many of us have been touched by this virus and we have lost people that we care about or friends of friends, or we at least know somebody who's lost somebody. And that's a grief in its own right. It just hangs over us and makes our hearts heavy, and it's really hard to accept. So what I'm going to ask you to do is going to sound pretty radical in the midst of really being kind of head on in the middle of all this and still not being towards the end of it by any means. But it's something that's going to empower you, and it's going to protect your body and protect the energy that's circulating through those meridians that are going to become vulnerable when we move into the fall. And what I'm going to ask you to do, this one is going to be tough, but hang on guys, you got to listen to it. I'm going to ask you to let it go. Okay, that's hard, but I'm going to ask you, please take a deep breath and let it go. Try to let go of the pain that this virus has caused us, the pain that this pandemic has caused us, the pain that all the upheaval, the social upheaval, all of the politics, all of the horrible things that are going on right now in our society with our cultural differences and all the prejudice issues that are happening, all the unjust issues that are going on, the civil unrest, all of those things are weighing heavy on our hearts, guys. I know it, I live it, I breathe it, I see it every day working with my patients, my colleagues, and my coworkers. I see that every single conversation revolves around one of these issues, and it falls back into people getting upset or angry at each other or not tolerating each other or getting sad or frightened or disconnected. There's an overabundance of emotion that tends to resonate in wherever people have an imbalance. So if people tend to be an anxious person by nature, it's falling in anxiety. If people tend to be more of an introvert, they recoil more. If somebody tends to be more of a wood person or a liver meridian person who tends to get more angry, it comes out that way. So we have these things that are just kind of, we all have our tendencies and our predispositions to fall into a certain pattern with our emotions anyway, and all of that is in an overabundance right now, and that is leading to all this influx of adrenal fatigue and people having these symptoms of being tired and they can't function and they can't lose weight and they're disconnected with their partners and their sex drive is low and they feel like they just can't participate in their life and they don't have enough energy to get out and do the things that they want to do because they're feeling all of these things so intently, and it's on their heart and it's on their mind, and they can't get past it. And I'm telling you guys, the only way that we can get past it is to find a way to let it go. Okay? It's hard to do. It's really hard to do, but we've got to let go of how we wanted our futures to be, because our world is a little bit different now. So if what you had in mind for the next 6 months or year or 3 years or 5 years doesn't match up with where we're going as a society, you need to readjust. I am not saying let go of your goals. I am not saying don't keep working towards what you were working towards, but I am saying take an inventory of what's happening around us and adjust. Don't hold on to that ideal of things looking exactly how you wanted them to look 3 months from now, 6 months from now, a year from now, 3 years from now, 5 years from now. Start to set yourself in alignment with where we're going and try to make everything the best that you can, but work in the parameters of what we have. Stop trying to fight against what's happened, because nothing is going to rewind time and make this not happen. It's happened. It's the reality. It's where we are. And we need to find a way to be our best selves and live our best lives in what's already happened. In saying that, again, I'm not saying give up. I'm not saying don't try. I'm saying readjust and take this into you and bring it into your heart and bring it into your soul and try to find a way to accept it, acknowledge it, let go of the ideals that you had before this happened, and allow yourself to be reshaped. We have got to allow ourselves to have this rapid, radical self-love recovery where we come out as somebody different. We come out, we rise up like a phoenix. We rise up from above it as a better version of ourselves. But we're not going to get there until we can let it go, guys. We're not going to get there until we can let go of the anger. We can let go of the pain. We can let go of the sadness, the anxiety, all of those things that are weighing us down and holding us back from being the best version of ourselves. We're not going to get past that until we cut off that dead weight. And if we don't cut off that dead weight, if we don't sever that anchor that's around our ankles right now, what's going to happen when we move into the fall, when we get into late August, when we get into September, all of this resentment and grief is going to arise. People already historically have a hard time in the fall. Some people love it. They love pumpkins. They love all the fun, fall things, the spices, the boots, the hats, all the stuff that we love about fall. Some people get really into that, and other people get really sad and they recoil and they feel this grief because what they see is the world kind of changing and things pulling inside, which is what's happening energetically in the fall. The energy in the world is returning to the earth, and the energy inside of our body is pulling deep inside. We're starting to cultivate that energy and that chi, and we're pulling it deep inside of us so that we have what we need to really get through the winter. And the idea is that we let go of that which does not serve us in the fall. We're just like a tree. The leaves, they've been there all summer. They're beautiful. They've hung there. They're gorgeous. But in the fall, they no longer serve us. It's time to let them go and let them fall so that they can return to the ground. They can help fertilize the soil. And in the winter, it helps cultivate that energy. It helps protect the roots of that tree. It helps protect the roots of who we are so that in the spring, we can bound up with a new energy and we can bloom and blossom in where we are. So this fall, as we start to move into it, and in August, I think it's really advisable, and I would want you guys to take inventory of where you are and what are those things that you can let go of. What are those things that no longer serve you? Were you trying to meet a goal that is no longer a priority for you, or were you expecting a certain reality to happen? Were you trying to rekindle or recreate something from your past? And if you were, write it down. Find a way to give yourself a vision board, or give yourself an alignment with your vision where you can start to let that go so that it can fall down, it can fall into the earth, and it can help energetically, it can help nourish your body, it can help nourish the roots of who you are, and help you emerge stronger and more secure in who you want to be. And if you can do that, if you can find a way to recreate that, let things go, and re-envision yourself, you're going to protect your lungs, you're going to protect your large intestines, you're going to protect your shen, or what we refer to as your spirit is the shen in Chinese medicine. So you protect that spirit, you protect that soul from further grief and damage that's really going to manifest. Because when we move from the fall into the winter, we go from a time of resentment and sadness kind of being prevalent, and we move into a stage of grief. In the winter, grief is the most prominent emotion that can kind of linger and hold on. So, really, if you can get through that phase of letting it go in the fall, hopefully the winter won't seem as doom and gloom, and it can give you that time to really hibernate and recharge so that you can be prepared for in the spring, this recultivation. So that was just kind of my food for thought today, and it was on my mind again because the weather is shifting and you can see this breeze blowing in the background, and I think it's the way of the universe delivering a message and kind of letting us know that we're headed towards something. We're headed towards this energetic shift. And it's just, to me, it's a gentle reminder that it's time to start taking the self-inventory. And if we really do want to move into recovering from adrenal fatigue and pulling the roots out, pulling the weeds out, the things that are holding us back, we really need to work on the energetic component of it. So we can do all the lifestyle changes, we can do all the dietary changes, we can do all the supplemental changes, and I will absolutely continue to work on those things with you guys. But the key to reducing that stress is to acknowledge those things that are pulling us down and holding us back, and finding a way to move them out, move them away from our life so that we have room for the better, bigger things that are coming through. And like I said, just walking outside, to me, it just seemed like a message from the universe today that I wanted to share with you, and I wanted to start bringing an awareness around. So I hope that this message was helpful to you in some way. It may sound really far-fetched to some of you. It may seem like something that you don't want to do, or it may seem like something that is just really eclectic, and that's fine too. But when you're ready to process this emotion, when you're ready to process this message, this YouTube video will be here, and you can come back to it and you can listen to it again. And if you like what I'm saying, if you feel like there are people in your life that need to hear this message, I encourage you, please share this YouTube channel, like and subscribe so you can hear the other videos that are out there. And you can certainly follow me here on the YouTube channel. Look me up on Facebook. I got lots of great information that I'm trying to get out in everybody's hands, because as a society, we really need to heal, and we really need some work. And the more we focus on it as a community, the more we build that energy and the more we cultivate. So I think we could start healing as a society if we start sharing more messages, not just from me, but from lots of different providers and people out there who have tons of wisdom to put out into the world to people who really need it. So please like, share, subscribe, get the information out there. And if you've got any comments or any questions, always feel free to reach out to me. I hope this was good food for thought, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.